Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and today we're going to have an unboxing and review of Guards of Traitors Toll. So I had this game given to me as an anniversary present from my wife, and yeah, it looked really interesting. It's made by Grey for now, and the miniatures within the box are done by Wargames Atlantic. So it's a skirmish adventure game by Graham Davey. So it's not a typical sort of skirmish game. It's not combat orientated really. It's got quite an interesting thing where you are the guards of Traitors Toll and you have to go around and like solve crimes, etc. So it's not a typical skirmish war game that you would naturally think of. Now on the back of the box you got these sort of what's in the box and a little blurb about the game, etc. As you can see, there's lots of miniatures included in here, and yeah, if they look anything like their paintings, which look like they've been painted very well, I'll be quite pleased with these miniatures. So let's get this thing cracked open and have a look at what's inside. Now, I can't really give you a rundown of the game too much as I haven't yet played it, but I have had a look at the instructions and yeah, it looks quite fun. As I read it more and as I play it on the channel, you will get to see it. And, I need to get to know the rules a little bit first before I tell you too much about my opinion on the gameplay. So it comes with these bases, which are these sort of sunken bases, which you can put your miniature on, or you can put it on the other side, etc. So I use the sunken side of the miniature bases, because then I can use my filler to give it sort of, the ground texture and build up to the pudding base. So we have, these are the peasants, or the villagers, and you have 6 of the villagers on each sprue, with 2 of them being female sculpts. The other 4 being male, of course. So you have an assortment of, heads and equipment, and that's what's really kind of drawn me to this, is just the options that you have here for making your townsfolk. And it does say in the game, like, you want to make scholars, workers, merchants, etc. So there are 4 identical sprues here, each with 6 miniatures upon them. Then we have 2 identical sprues for the guardsmen. So we'll come back and have a closer look at these in a bit. So we have the tokens that you need for it. Mine are slightly bent because the box isn't a great box. That's one thing that is down about this thing. The box isn't a traditional box. It's more like a miniature box, just giant size. So it doesn't protect the card stock too well because it's bent over. The rulebook is a small rulebook. It's about the size of a hand, and yeah, it's well laid out. There's lots of pretty miniatures and how they could look. There's these nice set pieces that they show you. And yeah, as far as I've read so far, it's quite easy to follow what you're meant to be doing. It also has this sort of plastic container, which is quite useful. We can use it to store some of our things from the game. So in here, at the moment, the only things in here are the cards and these rather nifty looking dice. So as you can see, there are proprietary dice involved. But yeah, I don't particularly love that idea. But in this game, I do see they do need them because, they need arrows, etc. to show which way to go. The card is of a good quality, very much like a play-in deck of cards. So yeah, kind of shiny, kind of fairly thick and durable looking. So I don't know a lot of what these cards are. I know these ones are telling you what each of your troops can do, etc. And you can, pick your town guards around the cards, etc. Now I know there are also like quest cards or, task cards, but really apart from that, I can't really tell you an awful lot at the moment. So having a look at the sprues a bit closer. So this is a guard's sprue. So we got loads of heads, as you know, you expect from Wargames Atlantic, and that is who makes of the plastics. You know, you got lots of heads, you got lots of helmeted heads, sort of those open face helms, like a pot helm type thing. You got a bit Norman-esque helmets, and then you got like full-faced bassinet helmets, etc. They carry like pole arms, they got swords, we got axes, we got torches, we've got like pointing swords, we got like another one where he's got mace over his shoulder sort of stance. Really quite interesting. We got a guy holding a scroll, a lantern, you know, you name it, you probably got what you want here. So one of the miniatures comes in two halves, so the legs and the torso sort of stick together. You've got some that are sort of heavy plated and others that are wearing gambeson-like armour. We got shields. We've even got an attack goose, which, you know, that's novel. We don't usually get many attack geese. But yes, in this you do have an attack goose. So there are 6 miniatures, of course, on each of these sprues. There's also like odds and ends, which are sort of on you. So like some keys and, you know, pouches. We have, of course, some bolts for the crossbows, etc. You know, all the things that you would expect from one of these kits. We've even got manacles, which is kind of cool. So then, the peasant, or the villagers, sprue. Again, we got loads of heads, and this is kind of what drew me to this game, is the options here for kit bashing, etc. are huge. Even if you didn't want a kit bash, there is just so many options that you can, you know, do different things for each of the miniatures. So there's female heads and male heads. There are sort of wizardy, scholarly heads. There are peasant-looking heads. There's some ruffian-looking heads. There's some dapper-looking people's heads. You know, there's all sorts that you might want on the sprue. We have like everyday items such as like buckets and, you know, weird and wonderful things. So yeah, the 2 females are very sort of, you know, I would say one of them is more of like an entertainer-looking outfit, and the other one's kind of normal, you know, everyday stuff that you can work around. But they got things like fishes and hands holding gemstones, etc. Aprons. It's quite good how the male and female arms are interchangeable. They haven't made them too different, so it doesn't, you know, look like they got big arms or little arms compared to the gender of the miniature. They just kind of all fit together. So painted up, I've painted up most of them, although not all of the villagers. I will do a separate video on the soldiers, as I haven't quite finished painting them up, so that might be next week. I'll do my sort of unboxing and review of those soldiers. But this guy is the blacksmith of the town, so he's got his leather apron and his hammer, and I think it sort of captures who he is and, you know, what he's up to. So when a card says, you know, a blacksmith or whatever, that would be that dude. This guy is like either a monk or a scholar of some sort. You know, he's carrying his book, but he's dressed kind of monk-like, so, you know, sort of ticking off things that might be described to try and find that person. This one, again, she's kind of on her way to Hogwarts, kind of, with her wand in one hand and her fan in the other. And of course that strange hood, which, you know, makes it look very mysterious. But, you know, I wanted to keep the miniatures sort of so they can fill quite a few of the genres or the, you know, the descriptions of these people. So this one is like a merchant. She's got a gem in her one hand and she's holding out her other hand for payment, etc. You know, I think that looks kind of a villager-like or a towny-like person. Now this one is holding a fish, of course, so I'm going to say she's probably a fishmonger, although, you know, maybe it's a way of payment, I don't know. But yeah, she got a fish, and yeah, I like the pose. I do love these miniatures. actually, when you get around to actually making them and painting them, they got so much character, and I absolutely love making these. So this lady may be a little more nefarious in her profession. She has a sack over her shoulder and a blade in her hand. So yeah, she's probably up to no good. Although maybe she's just selling knives and, you know, she wants to show you her wares. I haven't painted all of these up to be like at my best, but I think they look, you know, decent enough to get across what I want you to get from them. This guy is obviously a poor miner, so he's wearing rags, but he does have his pickaxe so that he can do his work with, etc. So, you know, if the game asks me to look for a labourer or something, this guy would be him. Of course, now we have a rather dashing young gentleman with his top hat on, and he's got his glove puppet, so he must be an entertainer of some sort, I'm assuming, and he's wearing that rather nice blue tunic, which, yeah, I'm really quite pleased with how he turned out, and his rather dapper moustache does look rather good. So this one would be considered, I would have thought, either a merchant or a nobleman, because he's got a little crown on, he's wearing fancy clothes because he's wearing red, and he's looking at a gemstone as well. So yeah, I think he's going to tick off those sort of boxes if a suspect is wearing, you know, posh clothing, or is a nobleman or a merchant, etc. So this one I did as a beggar, and yeah, I tried to do as many of the subgroups as I can. So I tried to do like 4 of each of the subgroups or something like that, in order to have, you know, as much variation as I can, but within those, you know, they're obviously fitting in those groups. So the other one was a beggar. This one's asking for your money, but maybe not quite so politely, as he looks to me like a ruffian with one hand out for money and the other hand holding a dagger. So yes, both of them will take your money, but one of them is more polite about it than the other. So this guy, well, he could be a worker, either a woodsman, maybe, because he's got his axe, but he does have that pouch, so he could be a ruffian. Maybe he's got that money from nefarious means, or, you know, maybe not quite such a nice dude, but I do like his hat. You know, he's at least tried to be fashionable about it. This woman, again, I would say is a noble woman, painted up in blues, and, you know, just generally gives you the idea that she is of a more well-to-do clientele than some of the other people we have seen. So that's the idea with this game, is you need a mixture of different types of people in order to have suspects being, you know, from a very wide variety of professions, etc. Now this guy is obviously a ruffian, though maybe not, maybe he's just you know, he's been working in a dusty atmosphere and he's wearing a face mask. Maybe he's worried about COVID, you know, maybe COVID has hit the Traitors' toll. But yes, that plank of wood with a nail in it probably says otherwise, but who knows? Maybe he's fixing something. So this guy with his owl on his shoulder, again, he could be like a scholar or a traveller or something. It's just such a wide variety of miniatures and, you know, possibilities that you can have with these kits, you know, and that's what I really love about them. I haven't even had to kit bash any of these because they've just given us so many options that it feels like kit bashing would be kind of like pointless, because at the moment I can make all of these things without using any doubles, etc. Apart from the bodies, of course. You do need to double up on the bodies. But apart from that, you can make lots of very unique people. So this one is kind of like a dancer. And the next one is, well, I don't know, some visiting lady from some warmer climates maybe, or some colder climates maybe, because she is fanning herself, finding it a bit warm. But again, she's in this reds, etc. So she's probably a little bit more of a fancy lady. And then we have, of course, a cooker lady. So, yeah, that's what it is. I really like these miniatures. I really like the look of the rulebooks, and I'm looking forward to playing the game. I can't actually give you an exact, what I think of the rules, because I haven't played it yet. But generally speaking, I think this is really cool, and it's worth it probably just for the miniatures. So that's it. Until next time, it's going to be goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Gamer.